So is cruising the right option for you and your family? There are a lot of benefits associated with cruising when it comes to overall costs, transportation, when it comes to the exotic places you can see and how much money you can save just by going on one. So during today's video, we're going to discuss all that and more. So let's dive in. All right, so doing a quick AI overview when it comes to the cruising history. Cruising's been around for a very long time, starting, it looks like, in 1835 with Arthur Anderson, who is the co-founder of P&O Cruises, who have made invented the cruise holiday by advertising an imaginary cruise in his newspaper. Now, of course, most people, when you think of cruising, right, we're thinking about the super ships, right? The mega ships that are out there these days that are typically offered more by Royal Caribbean and other leaders when it comes to cruises. And that includes Carnival Cruise Lines, Princess Cruises, Norwegian Cruise Lines, and others. Now, granted, as you can see when it comes to looking at this Wikipedia article, cruising's come a long way from these really old, rickety, steam-based ships all the way to what we're seeing nowadays, which is bigger and bigger and bigger ships. Isn't it impressive when it comes to the size and scope of these ships these days? I can only imagine the draft that these ships actually have. Nowadays, they have to think more of how deep the water is as opposed to how big they want to make their ships. They're absolutely massive. All right, since we have a bunch of cruise lines to choose from, let's just start with what I know, which is Carnival. I'm not saying that Carnival Cruise Lines is better. I'm just more familiar with the cruise line since I haven't cruised with anybody else since I was a kid. My first cruise was when I was 15 years old on the Carnival Triumph, also known as, I believe, the poop cruise, because of a horrible incident that's extremely rare that happened involving their electrical systems and their septic system. Thankfully, though, I'm sure since that incident, redundancies have been put in place where something like that will never happen again, knock on wood. But as you can see, look at some of these prices when it comes to various cruises that are 5 or even 8 days long. So just to show you the amount of money that you get when it comes to going on a cruise, let's just put in a random date here and kind of show you how this works, right? And I'm going to do something surrounding New York just because, again, I'm the type of person that doesn't like to use airfare. So I try to, as much as I can, not use airplanes. All right, so let's see New York, New York. I'm sure some of you are actually seeing this a lot quicker than I am. Search cruises. And again, this is where it starts, right? So the minute you decide to go on a cruise, you're saving a lot of money in various areas, including travel, right? As long as you can get to the ship, and there's a lot of ports that are nearby to a lot of people, the biggest expense associated with transportation is just getting there. And oftentimes there's a lot of bus companies, probably the cheapest way of doing it, that'll take you where you need to go. And bus rates or fares can be from $40 to $100, typically cheaper than most airline tickets. All right, so here are some cruises. I just want to show you this 9-day cruise. All right, so yeah, I know, I get it, right? $719, it most certainly looks like a lot of money, and it is, right? But it's a 9-day cruise. Now, granted, you don't get a full 9 days on the cruise ship. I mean, it's probably 2 half days and the rest are full days, right? Because you have to do embarkation and disembarkation. But still, for a good chunk of a really good week, everything's pretty much paid for. Now, Carnival is one of those cruise lines that they're really known to actually have most things included. Yeah, granted, they do have their specialty restaurants, but for the most part, if you really don't want to spend any money once you get to the ship, you don't have to. And this can take the form of you choosing not to drink any alcohol or to go to any of that specialty dining or all the additional extras when it comes to, let's say they have to if they have a 4D entertainment facility or like a 4D theater, or maybe they have some type of art auction that might be a waste of money sometimes, or overpriced limited edition art pieces, which we all know how that goes. So for the most part, as long as you're not a heavy drinker and that, you just stick to your guns when it comes to knowing how much money you want to spend on a cruise, cruising is still, to this day, one of the most economical vacations that you can go on. Right? So think about it. Entertainment, food, most of your drinks, as long as you want to stick to like lemonade and a few fruit juices, right? And water and coffee are all included. And cruising is one of those vacations where if you want to do absolutely nothing, that's fine, right? If you want to read a really good book and look at the ocean and smell the salt water air, then go right ahead, get yourself a balcony and spend the next, 7 to 9 days just relaxing. Or if you're the other type of person that likes to do things on your vacation, well, there's an itinerary that you can do every single day. That's usually posted in the ship's app. They can be things like seminars and obstacles courses that you can do, fun activities, trivia. It could have to do with some type of learning activity or a dance club. With these ships, typically the sky's the limit. They have Family Feud, on Carnival ships. That's kind of fun. Hairy men's chest competitions, and the list goes on and on. And of course, for your kids that like the water park, well, they've got that too. And since we're talking about kids, if you're worried about, when it comes to where your kids are located and having to watch them all the time, that really has to do with the age and maturity of your child. And of course, accounting for any disabling conditions that they might have. However, Carnival is renowned for one of their options, which is called Camp Ocean. And for those of you that don't know what Camp Ocean is, it's really just like a daycare. It's a temporary camp that your kids or loved ones could hang out at for sometimes hours upon hours, depending if they're having a really good time, where the parents can go off and do their own thing. And granted, just to let you know, surprise, surprise, it is a ship, meaning that, other than safety concerns, there's not much trouble that they can get into when it comes to being stuck in the middle of the ocean. And so with Carnival, at least, they offer different clubs or types of camps depending on the age and abilities of that child. As you can see here, Club O2 and Circle C have different age ranges, right? Let's click on one of them. All right, here's Club O2. Here's Camp Ocean, which is more catering to younger children, right? And Circle C for older kiddos, right? That like to hang out and just pretty much spend time on their cell phones, I guess. I mean, what do kids do these days? And for parents that like to unwind and let loose a little bit because you are on vacation, there is the Night Owl program for an additional cost. Okay, and like I said before, you can spend a lot of money on a cruise with all the little extras you don't necessarily need, from baked cookies to distilled water for apparently people with CPAP machines, which is kind of nice that they offer that, to internet plans, right, which can get kind of pricey sometimes. What else? What are the other options here? All right, here are those drink packages I was talking about. So for those of you that really want to let loose, and I would never recommend drinking in excess, Carnival, just like most of the other cruise lines, do have drink packages. And especially for children, I do recommend the unlimited bottomless bubbles that has to do with, basically soda and juices for kids. Again, it's a nominal fee when it comes to all that per day. And that's typically how they charge you. And then, of course, down here for the adults, it includes the bottomless bubbles, but then, of course, a restricted number amount of alcoholic drinks per day, including cafe beverages. So if you like your lattes, if you like your fancy coffee drinks or milkshakes, that's also included when it comes to this Cheers package. And also the additional gratuity as well is worked in, but also keep in mind that most of the people that work for cruise lines, they are really hard workers, meaning that if you want to throw in a gratuity or an additional gratuity on top of what you're already paying, please go right ahead. So most cruise lines do offer a loyalty program, and that's not the page you're looking at right now, but just suffice it to say, Carnival currently has a, I believe, new member, which is blue, seasoned member that's been at least on one cruise, which is red, and then gold, platinum, and diamond memberships, where they give you special privileges when it comes to special embarkation and disembarkation availability, and also when it comes to certain things like laundry service and special events that pretty much cater to the more seasoned cruising individuals. But if you're like me, and I'm a gold card member right now when it comes to my status, how many cruises I've been on, which means I don't have many of those benefits that I want yet that platinum and diamond packages would offer. So I typically get this faster to the fun package for a nominal amount. It's really worth it when it comes to having a lot of these embarkation and disembarkation privileges. In addition, you can easily drop off your own luggage when you get to the ship itself, when you finally get on board, versus other programs that really don't let you do that. And as you can see, these are all the other benefits associated with Faster to the Fun. For instance, priority check-in, stateroom access, priority luggage delivery, guest services. So you go in a special line with this one that the Platinum and also the Diamond members have. Dining reservations, priority water shuttle boarding, which was nice on our last cruise. We definitely took advantage of that. And of course, like I was saying before, the disembarkation. And of course, these are the current prices depending on what you're planning on getting. And my recommendation is, if you're on the fence on whether or not to get your cruise, whether to wait for later, let's say if you're going to go on a cruise next year, get it now, just because typically, historically, Carnival almost always goes up in all of their rates every single year. So whether you book now or later, and it's the same sailing date, it really doesn't matter when it comes to that date itself. But when it comes to saving yourself a little bit of money, sooner typically equates to better when it comes to booking your cruise and saving a few extra bucks. All right, so this next part, what I want to talk about is all the benefits associated with cruising, right? Why do we go on vacation? Well, if you ask me, you could be one of two people. Either the type of person that wants to relax and unwind and not do a lot of working, right? Because it's your vacation. Or, rightfully so, you're the type of person that wants to put more notches on your belt and get those additional experiences and, really enjoy and maximize your time, maybe in the Caribbean or maybe in Alaska or these other really exotic locations that cruises can go to. And the best part is, you're with your loved ones every step of the way. And there's also a sense of security in numbers when you go on cruises, right? The amount of people you quickly become friends with. I don't care what nationality you are, what cultural background is yours, what religious convictions that you have. The minute you step on a cruise ship, it seems to me, almost all that goes away when it comes to making new friends and just everybody having a good time and unwinding. Well, there you have it. So some real benefits and a few drawbacks associated with cruising. Now, I know some people are deathly afraid of the water and some people can't swim and people have seen the movie Titanic. I get it. I absolutely get it. But if you're one of those people that, some of that is just maybe in the back of your mind and isn't paralyzing when it comes to making a decision on going on a cruise, then cruising might be a good option for you and your family. So something to consider when it comes to the prices and how much you get through that whole process. But with that said, I'll leave that decision up to you guys, and I will see you on the next episode.